I still remember how the bark felt on the towering maple tree out in front of my grandparents' house, and the best and smoothest spot to grab on the lowest branch where I could, while standing on a protruding root, hoist myself up and then go branch to branch, past leaf on leaf, and disappear. I felt safe in that planet space and free in the sky and connected to my family close by in the house, over the tree, over the roots of this tree. Safe, free, and connected. There are a lot of feelings like these that we associate with trees, so it's no surprise to find a lot of tree metaphors in our history. If you could put all human mythologies together, you'd find a veritable forest, from the stories of the Garden of Eden and Tree of Life to the world tree of Norse mythology, or the tree Buddha sat under for enlightenment, and many more. This is a forest that I wandered through when I was losing my childhood faith. I was, as many in that situation, uprooted and searching these stories for a purpose. It was around this time, when I was 19 years old, that I met Lucas. I meet Lucas in a US history class. He's struggling to follow along because he's just learning English, so I slide in my notes. After class, he asks if I'll help him study. During our first study session, he tells me about his life. He was born in Brazil in the 70s, in a small secluded village, so removed from the rest of the world that he didn't hear of other countries or languages until he was 14. As soon as he heard there was more, he made his way out and worked hard against the disadvantages of a bad early education and extreme poverty. Lucas can't drive, he never learned how, so I start to give him rides. And one day we're passing a burger joint and I say, "Have you ever been there? It's really good." And the next day he hands me a $20 gift card to go there, which is nice. A few weeks later I'm telling him about my favorite TV show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's great, you should all see it. And a few days later he hands me the DVD box set with all 144 episodes. A few weeks after that, we're listening to some new music, and soon I get tickets to go see them in concert. But it's across the country in Philadelphia, which I think is a mistake. He struggles with English, and then he hands me plane tickets. So I'm getting a lot of gifts from Lucas, and I always say no at first, but he's very persistent. He cries and says that I'm his best friend and I'm like a brother to him, and one time he even said that I'm like the father he never had. Did I mention he's 15 years older than me? So, I just thought he was really nice, and one day around my birthday he comes to me and he says, I have enough money to go back and see my home country in Brazil, and I want you to come. And he hands me a large envelope with a 2-month itinerary and a plane ticket with my name on it. And the usual drama unfolds, my refusal, his tears, until I finally accept. I see a lot of Brazil over the course of a couple months. We go to the small village where he grew up, and I'm the first white person to ever be there, which is kind of funny, and I'm like a freak, and everyone's taking pictures of me. And I hear later that a lot of families put these pictures up in their home, and I'd love to see someone go there and just be like, who the hell is this white boy? We continue, I go to Rio, this stunning city where mountain and ocean and buildings come together. We fish for piranha in the Amazon River. I go to Iguazu Falls, this unworldly waterfall. But unfortunately what stands out isn't these destinations and the other people there, because about 10 days into the trip, in a hotel room on the 18th floor, I wake up to strange pressures on my body, and I open my eyes and see Lucas over me. And as I try to stop what's happening and confront him, he denies it. He says he's sleepwalking, and I keep pushing, and he breaks down, and it's human behavior I've never seen before. He collapses on the floor and starts writhing around, wailing, and I'm really at a loss. And after a couple hours, he heads to the window and says he's just going to end it all, and I have to wrestle him down from the ledge and say I'll just stop talking about it. We continue on this trip, and he's really anxious. He won't let me out of his sight. I don't know Portuguese, I don't have any money. I don't fear for my life, I'm just confused and uncomfortable, so uncomfortable. There are times he pushes the physical boundaries, and I stop it, but anytime I try to speak up, it devolves into another conversation about him trying to take his life, and so I just shut up, and I start to bite my tongue, so I stop talking, I start guarding my body, flinching, feeling trapped. Our last stop was Fernando de Noronha, an island, the last island on an archipelago with wild sea life and the lush brush all over the island. It was an exclusive destination with only a handful of people allowed at a time. But interestingly and strangely appropriate to my situation, the island had long been a prison. Criminals were sent there to live out their life, and the government had clear-cut all the trees so that they couldn't fashion a boat and escape the island. And so on this island paradise, I'm, as a prisoner long after the prison had closed, the last prisoner of Fernando de Noronha. It's late in the afternoon and I'm staring at the ocean. The waves come in, recede out. I breathe in and out. This repeats, and I don't realize it, but these deep hypnotic breaths are slowly unshackling the proverbial chains around me. And suddenly I get up and sprint. Lucas calls out after me, but he's big and slow, and it doesn't take long for me to get away from him. And every step I take away feels like weight dropping off my body. I hit the sand, and I hit the beach, and the sand loosens me more, and I just run and run past any human impact on this island. I run past cove after cove, driven by this freedom awakened by the pain in my strained legs and lungs. And I stop at a beach alone, and I don't want anything holding me back, so I take off all my clothes and I start out to the water. And I look around and I see these boulders emerging from the ocean, formed with a mix of water-worn divots and encrusted sea life. In the distance, the sea rolls out into a deep green and blue until it crests with the orange and red horizon. Looking down, the water's clear with shells, fish, and seaweed swaying over the sand. I slowly climb onto a boulder, carefully placing my feet over the spiny surface. I stand on the top, looking out at this seascape. I stand on that spot, bare, freer than I've ever felt before, and this desire to connect unleashes, and it starts in my chest, and it grows and grows until I transform. From my feet, roots twist into the rock, splitting it, burying into the sand. The roots continue under the current, drawing deep into the earth. I raise my hands, and from my fingers, branches unfurl, leaves sprout to feel the wind and soak up the last vestige of sunlight. I close my eyes, and these roots and branches continue across the earth, and it goes across the ocean, across lands, and I can feel others who, like me, feel trapped and guilty and broken, and so I lift them up onto the branch so that they feel safe, so that they feel loved. I don't know how long I was there, and the absurdity of it is not lost on me either. I could imagine zooming out to someone else walking on this beach and just seeing this pale, naked boy jumping around on a rock. But escaping that situation and experiencing that transformation was a kind of redemption. I still don't know the purpose to life, if there is one, but I've added a tree to that mythological forest, my tree. You know, it was rooted in a childhood experience, grown on the island in the Atlantic, always reaching out, searching for those feelings for me and others. First safe, then free, and finally connected. Thank you.